And welcome back to part 2 of their presentation, the crash course on using the internet to leverage your business. My name is Mick Cullen, and it's a presentation on behalf of the Redcliffe City Chamber of Commerce. So in part 1, the first part of the webinar we ran, we went through a couple of things. Let's just go for a recap through those. So we went through the 3 market forces or several market forces that are moving businesses and our society towards the online space. So economically, we're seeing, industries instead of being, local or national, can now service any customer anywhere in the world if they can provide that service. At the same time, what we consider like real world businesses, there's a massive slump in employment and especially in the global economy at the moment. That's driving again a lot of economy by people moving their businesses online, and definitely people looking to save money shopping online, which is the social aspect as well. Just again, as a society and socially now, spending more and more time online, social media and mobile phones, and that's where we're communicating and hanging out. That's where your customers are hanging out. Technology-wise, it's never been more accessible and more affordable to be online as a business and as individual consumers with things like iPads, iPhones, Android phones. We've got the ability to take this technology around wherever we go, have that internet access, and that's just a new way of doing business. So all these things are coming together, and we spoke about in the last session that it's providing a window of opportunity for businesses that are ready to move through it and move ahead of their competitors. So that's the background. Then we went through basically this diagram. We talked about the different ways we can use the internet and mobile phones to gather new prospects and leads, and then what we can do to convert more of them into new customers. And we looked at several methods of communicating and engaging and retaining that relationship with our current customers and to keep them as coming back. And obviously that combination of new customers and returning customers is going to give us our total customers. Well, in this session, we're going to focus on the second part of that equation. So once we have our total customers, we're going to look at things we can do to actually increase our revenue, reduce our costs, and obviously increase our overall profit in our business. Then we're going to go through a whole admin section of a lot of the tools that I use and I recommend to people, which just makes the admin and the administration of your business that much easier. So you can do things quicker, you can do things on the road. A lot of things that can be done via paper is just a lot more easy on your storage to have it online and accessible from wherever you are. So we'll get into all that stuff. Price is the first aspect we're going to look at. And within the online context, there's a lot of things we can do in testing. So we can display on our e-commerce sites or on our web pages split testing. So one half of our visitors may see one page and one half of our visitors will see the other page. And you can have 2 different prices on there. And over time, by testing different prices, you can work out where the best price point is for people buying, but then also on the profit side. So you can adjust and test that over time. The second thing to look at is pricing tables. So you're going to see more and more of these on online websites, especially if you go to any kind of online service or software site, you'll see different package levels. And if your business fits that model where you have different packages, then pricing tables are a great way of allowing people to compare different products and also fit quite a lot of information into a small space. And you can also emphasize the product that you actually want them to take, whether it's the best value or the one that's the most easy for you to deliver as far as scale and economy goes. Something else to keep in mind is that you're not space limited online. Now, when you're doing your advertising, whether it's a radio ad or a TV ad or in a newspaper, you are very, very conscious of the fact that you need to get your message into a small time or a small space. Whereas on the web, you can have plenty of ability to go into videos, testimonials, features and benefits, and draw out the value, and you get all that space where you can include that information that's going to help you make that sale. So you're definitely not limited, and you need to think about that space. So if you are doing other forms of advertising and you can get them from that other advertising onto your website or onto a YouTube video, whatever online property that you're using, you've got that ability to use that expensive advertising to get them somewhere where you can then take the time and use the space to go into details in your products and really give them all the benefits and features that you may not be able to do in a newspaper ad. So in this aspect, the purpose of the newspaper ad is to get them out of the newspaper and online where you can have that additional conversation. Now, you can get pretty extreme. You can see this very thin page here in the middle. This is all one long website. And if we zoom into it, you can just see how much information they've put on that page to answer every possible objection and concern that someone might have in buying that product. So that's a fairly extreme example, but that just gives you an idea of what you can do. Another component that you look at is the size of the purchases that you create in your business. And again, the online ability of e-commerce sites and their websites is great for packaging and providing upsells, downsells, and cross-sells. Now, it's just a psychological principle that once your customer has their credit card out or they're in the process of buying and they've made that decision to buy, it's now much easier to then sell something else at the same time. And you'll see this example all the time. McDonald's or any of the fast food where they do that upsell and ask, and people are much more likely to buy the extra thing than they would have before they actually made the decision to purchase. So a lot of the shopping cart facilities out there will do that. Once they've made a decision to buy, you can then present them with a second product, which is an additional benefit to what it is that they're buying. Now, Amazon is amazing for this, and you can see that they'll suggest that people who bought the book that you're looking at also bought other books, and they'll package them together. So you can see at the top there's a 3-for-1, a 3 book deal package, and then down the bottom they're also suggesting other books that you might be interested in at the same time. How often people make a purchase from you is something that you can influence as well. So there's a whole heap of different options out here, but if you're a physical store, especially a coffee shop or a food retailer, then Foursquare is one platform you really want to look at. And what you can do inside Foursquare is very similar to the coffee coupons where people come in and you stamp their coupon or a hole punch it, and when they get 8 or 10 coffees, they get a coffee free. Well, Foursquare will let you automate that process to a certain extent so people can come in and check in your business, and depending how many times they check in and how many times that they visit, you can unlock certain discounts or prizes for them. Now, the advantage for you too is that quite often these Foursquare accounts are linked to their Twitter accounts or their Facebook accounts. And so when they check in on your business through an app on their mobile phone or through a website, it's a viral spread. So their friends and their contacts will see that they've checked in at your business, and you get that extra layer of visibility through their social network. So Foursquare is something to check out if you've got people coming to your business in that aspect. Big one though is your email database. So one of the most valuable resources in your business is a database of past customers. So past customers are going to be much more likely to buy again than having to go and chase new customers and explain your value proposition again. So by mailing out on a regular basis really good informational content and perhaps a link back to your website where you've got a new video up or a coupon or a discount, that's a way of contacting those people who already know you, like you, and trust you, and they've bought from you, to come back in and increase the frequency that they buy from you. The other way, of course, is running, or if you could turn your product or service into a subscription or a membership service, and that way you're encouraging that regular consumption and quite possibly automating it if you've got on a monthly billing system. So you can increase the number of times people are buying from you per year. And again, there's lots of online services which will allow you to bill on a recurring schedule, and also even inside a website offering premium content for people who are subscribed. If you're looking at ways to reduce your marketing spend, in many cases you may not actually want to reduce it, you just may want to make it more efficient. And what we talk about is wastage. Now, for any one of us, when we have our products and services, that's really only going to appeal to quite a small percentage of the market and demographic. And yet you imagine that when you imagine all the people, say, who read a large metropolitan newspaper, so in our case maybe the Courier Mail, the number of those people who wouldn't be interested at all in what you're trying to sell. But you still have to pay to reach all these people. And in many cases, they're not even going to see your ad, one. And then if they do see the ad, if you headline something that just doesn't appeal to them whatsoever, they're pretty much going to be blind to it and go straight past it. But you've paid for that opportunity to have that impression. Online, you've got a lot more control over who actually sees your ad. So you're not paying, or depending on the service, you can target the people that you want to target and not have to pay to access the other people. And the other aspect is obviously, cost per click advertising. So you're only going to pay when someone who is interested enough on your ad actually clicks through to your website. So in that aspect, using pay per click, people who aren't interested in your product or service aren't actually costing you anything. So you're only paying for performance. So that's something definitely to look at if you haven't tried any kind of performance marketing before online. The measurement of your advertising is also really, really important, because if you're not measuring it, you don't really know if it's working or not. And the beautiful thing about online is not only the targeting, the fact that you can show your ads to the people that you want to show them to, is you can actually measure where your customers are coming in from, what they're interested in, and the type of engagement. So that you can tailor your marketing spend and your marketing efforts on what's working, and things that aren't working, well, you can drop that and you can test something new. You can always be testing new ideas and see how it performs, often in real time, rather than having to wait for weeks and weeks to get that feedback. We talked about that self-service aspect with the e-commerce, but you can reduce it even just in a normal retail or a normal store situation. You can reduce a lot of the demand on your staff's time by having all those questions answered online and having the online processing and even online data entry. So if people need to write their details in, phone numbers, addresses, if you can have that set up as a kiosk where they enter it online, or if they do it online through a website at home or through mobile sites, then you're reducing that demand on your staff time, which means they can be doing something more effective, or in many cases, you might be able to actually reduce your staff costs. There's lots of voice over IP services out there, and this is basically using a telephone, but instead of going through the normal telephone line, you're actually converting your voice to data. It travels over the internet and then gets turned into voice at the other end. And this is obviously a lot cheaper. And you might have heard of, obviously, Skype. It's probably one of the big services out there. But you can also get dedicated setups for your office, and that can be secure, and you can talk to providers about that. And that can include video conferencing as well. And that ability to see who you're talking to and actually hold things up and share screens just allows that collaboration to happen so much easier, and which means you can get things done quicker in your business. Quite often you can access consultancy services that you wouldn't normally be able to get access to because they're not in your location. And a great example is just medical provision and service to bush communities now. They can call into large cities, talk to the specialist over video conferencing, and get that that feedback they wouldn't normally be able to get. And businesses can do exactly the same with different business specialists. So there's no reason, if the best person in your industry is in the US or in Europe, using these type of systems, there's no reason you can't access that advice here in Australia, almost just the same as if they were in the same room as you. And you're obviously going to be able to do that so much cheaper than as if you want to try and fly those people in. So video conferencing is a great way, rather than having your workforce or your staff move around and go to different conferences, to be able to keep them in-house and reduce the cost that way. All right, and the last point on this slide, we're here talking about costs and how we can use the internet to leverage our business, is looking at our software we use. So software as a service is a term that's becoming more popular now. And what it is, instead of actually having to go and buy hardware, put it in your office, install the software in your office and maintain it, what you can do is take a membership or a subscription with an online service like the ones we talked about, FreshBooks, Xero, there's all kinds of systems out there, and only pay for what you need. And as time goes on, if you need more resources or you need more features, then you can upgrade to a larger package. So this saves forking out a large upfront cost to get your setup up and going. You can get started very quickly and very cheaply. And because these businesses are servicing customers all over the world, they've got a great economy of scale at their end. So quite often you're going to save money on the actual cost. So it's going to help your cash flow. It scales. These services talk to each other quite frequently. They have a common programming language, so you can get data out and into another service. And the same thing, you can take your data with you if you need to move from service to service. And the big part is that you reduce your reliance on the actual equipment in your office itself. So you're basically outsourcing all the hardware and software maintenance and upgrading. So if your computer dies in the office, all you need to do is whip down to your nearest computer provider, buy another computer, bring it back in, plug it into the wall, and keep going. In often cases, you can fall back and operate it from an iPad or an iPhone if you have to. So if you're looking at a large software purchase, it definitely pays to look online and see what the online solutions are and compare the accessibility from the fact you can get to it anywhere you have an internet connection, as well with the cost. So that's something to check out. So once we've applied a few of those online tweaks to your price, your size, your frequency, and your revenue and your costs, then obviously the end result that we're all looking for is increased profit. So hopefully that's useful. What I want to do now though is jump into some of the admin tools that I use and that you've got access to, and just talk about how they can make the actual process of doing business quicker and easier. All right, I find this is a really fun part of the presentation, because this is the type of stuff that I show local business owners when I sit down with them, and they love it. And quite often when I get the emails back, it'll be, "Oh, I'm so glad you showed me this tool. It saved me so much time." So the first one is password management. As soon as you start doing anything online whatsoever, you're going to start opening up accounts and having different passwords for different services. And more often than not, what I find is that the business owner or the admin staff who are looking after the business's online accounts and setups will either have them written down on a sticky note or a piece of paper next to the computer, or they'll use the same login and the same password for every different account. So obviously this is not the way you want to do things, because if you've got the same account details and password login, say for your Facebook as you have for your accounting system, as for your project management system, if one of those is breached, then someone has access to your entire business. At the same time, having a really good secure password with numbers and capitals and have it different for all your different websites is just not practical, because it's too hard to remember. So the way to get around that is dedicated password management software. The one I'd suggest you check out, it's called LastPass, LASTPASS.com. There's lots of these sort of services out there. You need to do your own background checks on them, but it gives you the ability to store all your passwords in one place. And as long as you can remember the master password to get in, then you can quickly jump in and access the passwords. They'll normally will generate the passwords for you as well. So for every new account you open, they'll generate a secure password, which is going to be very, very difficult for anyone to crack. And then there's plugins for your web browser. So when you go to a website where it recognizes you've already got an account, it will fill out the forms for you. So it'll fill out your username, your password, and you'll just be able to log straight in. Most of them will come with a mobile phone app. So as long as you've got access to the internet again, you can carry that with you and you can lock that up again inside your phone. And once you put your master password in, you can get to all your account details while you're on the move as well. So it's definitely a time saver. And if your business contains any customer details, then you're also responsibility for the security of that information as well. So you need to look at that. So password management software, the one I use is LastPass. There's lots of Microsoft Office alternatives out there. And the reason you might want to look at that is, one, just the cost involved if you've got multiple computers and the licensing arrangements in your business. But again, the other aspect is, wherever possible, it'd be great if you didn't have your documents stored on your local computer in your office, because if that computer breaks down and you lose power, you can't access them. And if you're at home or you're out on the road, you can access those documents as well. So more and more businesses are looking at cloud solutions for their document storage and their working. So obviously the big one is probably Google Docs to check out. And that obviously comes with Gmail as an email alternative, and has a PowerPoint presentation alternative, spreadsheets, documents. One of the beautiful things is that you can have collaboration, so multiple people can edit the document at once, and you can see what else people are doing. So you can be working with people in different sites. And again, the mobile access means you can take the documents wherever you go, access them on the go, and know you've always got the most up-to-date copy, rather than having duplicates of documents and presentations around the office, so you never know what's the most up-to-date version. So there's definitely lots of alternatives up there, and in many cases quite free or very, very cheap to use. If you need to do any kind of graphic design, then the standard in the industry is pretty much Photoshop. Now, for a small business, that can be quite a large investment, and it's also quite a detailed program where you probably only use a fraction of the features. Ones to look at free is Pixlr, Pixlr.com. This is a free online editing software that all happens in your browser. It's really quite amazing, and allow you to do quite a lot of the everyday features you would use Photoshop for online, and you can save that to your hard drive or take it with you. So that's a really good free resource to use. The other one is GIMP, G-I-M-P, and that's a program you can download from Mac or PC and actually install. That's a graphic software that's open source and free. Dropbox is an amazing service, and it's essentially online storage. The way it works is you start a Dropbox account, you store it on your computer, and you set up a folder on your computer. Whatever files you put in that folder will now get backed up and replicated online. So wherever you are on a mobile phone, at home, at work, as long as you've got that internet connection again, you can get into those files. And so the easiest way to probably think about it is, instead of having to carry around a USB stick with you wherever you go, you can just put it into Dropbox. And when you get to your destination, as long as you've got the internet connection, you can grab that file and run with it. Again, version control is great, because if you update the file on your home computer, by the time you get to work, the work computer will be refreshed with the changes you made at home. So that's a great system. Allows you to share documents and files between teams, and it's really quite cheap. Comes with 2 gigabytes for free, and then it jumps up to 50 gigabytes for I think about $10 a month. So that's a great service. If your work involves project management, or you've got any project management style requirements in your business, then again, there's a whole heap of online solutions for you. The big ones to look at is Basecamp, do.com. And what these services do is they allow, there'll be different templates, there'll be messaging between team members, you can have common calendars, it can track your to-do items and assign them to people, and you can keep all the files you need for a project in a big bucket, you'd call it, against that project. So all your team members and external contractors that are working on that particular project has one place they can go, and all the information is recorded in one spot, so you can jump in and see what different people are doing at different times. So it includes, if you're in any kind of website production or video production, even for wedding planning, you can invite your clients in if you're a wedding planner and have a template that you run through and customize that. And people can see where they're up to, what things you're waiting for an answer back from, who the different suppliers are, and control it all online. And again, like all these tools we're talking about, once it's online, you'll generally be able to access it from your mobile phone, and you'll be able to tablets, home computer, work computer, you'll be able to work from wherever you are. WereQuickies are incredibly valuable and an important resource for your business as well. And when you think about your business, you've got to think about all the processes that happen day to day just for your business to work, that people carry out. In many cases, it's just purely down to staff training and people knowing what they're doing. But what I guess as a business owner, you want to be able to do is get them out of people's heads and actually document the system, so everyone does something the same way. And that if someone's sick and you get a temp in, they can look at the procedures and be able to carry on. So a couple of advantages are, if you put a new team member on as a new employee, there's somewhere they can go and actually look up how to do whatever the steps are in your business. And these WereQuickies are generally websites that you can host externally and have password protected, or you can have your own internal intranet. And they act like web pages, so you can include text, how-to diagrams, you can have a how-to video embedded in the page, you can have checklists embedded. You can control who sees what procedures. The policy or the procedures, how you do your work, out of those manuals which sit on the shelf that no one look at, and into a place where they're online. They're easy for you to update and make changes to if you need to. When people access it, they know they're accessing the most up-to-date version, and they can access it wherever they are. So if they're out on the road on task, they can pull up the procedures and do it the correct way rather than trying to rely on memory or carry all the information with them. And if it comes to time when you want to sell your business, this would be a fantastic resource to be able to show a potential buyer so that they know that when they walk in, your business is systemized and documented, and they're not going to be left relying on key staff and perhaps your expertise and knowledge when you sell the business. If you look around your office and you've got piles and piles of paperwork and receipts building up, then Shoeboxed might be a really good service that you want to check out. This is a service where you can basically package up a lot of your documentation, send it off to them, whether it's business cards, receipts, you name it. They'll scan it all in and actually enter it into an Excel spreadsheet for you, and then send that information back so you can then cut and paste that into your accounting package, or send it to your accountant, whatever you need to do with it. Put it in Excel spreadsheets for your own internal accounting. And for business cards, it'll come back and you can import them straight into your contacts register. So it's basically an outsourced, very cheap way to get data entry done if you're struggling with your paperwork. Comes with a mobile app as well. So if you get a receipt while you're out and about, you can snap a photo of your receipt. It'll go to Shoeboxed. You can bin your paper copy, and they will data enter it, and you'll get back the information on the receipt in an Excel file spreadsheet. So it's all done for you. If you run a vehicle fleet, then there's lots of location tracking services out there as well. And it can be as simple as set up as purely, tracking a mobile phone that's in the car, rather than having dedicated software out there. And that's going to allow you to see where your assets are and possibly, who's closest to a job that comes up. So you don't have people wasting time traveling across the city if there's someone or a vehicle closer to that task. So that's something to check out. It's also just it could be a safety thing for your staff as well, if they're traveling around, the fact that you know where your staff are if they get in trouble. If you ever find yourself needing to get media for your flyers or your presentations, or you're creating a new template in your business, chances are someone's already done it online. So there's lots of sites you can go to, like DocStock for documents. In there you'll find forms, letters, proposals, invoices, flyers which are already done, and you can just modify for your own requirements. So just in the back of your mind, if you ever find yourself trying to create something from scratch, chances are someone's already done it. Have a look. Same goes for graphics. And there's lots of cheap places you can get graphics, but also just really high quality images. And iStock Photo is one that you might want to check out as well. Instant messaging is something that's really growing as a business tool. Again, the fact that you can access from a desktop or a mobile means that you can keep in contact with your workforce over different sites and if they're out and about. So it can allow one-to-one text messaging, similarly, but using a data network, or it can be one-to-many. You might have essentially a chat room for the different people in your business. So as they're coming in and out, you can see what's going on, and especially useful if you've got multiple sites or different locations for the people in your business. Through these services, you can normally send attachments. It's real time, so if someone's got a question, they can put the question out there, and then anyone in your staff, in your workforce who knows the answer can simply type it back in, and rather than have to have someone who rings around trying to find the answer. In many cases, they're free, so you can start with Skype and give it a go, and just put everyone in your own Skype group. And it actually doubles as video conferencing as well with many of these services, so you can jump on and video chat between people. Disaster management is something we don't quite often think about in our business, but especially here in Brisbane recently, we've had floods and events like that, and something just to bear in mind. So again, there's lots of cloud services and data backup services out there. Instead of backing it up to a local hard drive, you can have your computers and your information backed up online. So for whatever reason your building gets destroyed, your equipment gets destroyed, you can start from scratch in temporary office or service offices And again, as long as you've got that internet access, you can be up and running again quite quickly and know your data's protected. And again, that's why some of these online services are so great, is they're not reliant on any particular location or hardware that you have. You can access it from mobile devices or simply from another computer if you need to. If you're doing lots of training, whether you're a training provider or just simply in-house training, again, lots of resources out there available for you. So there's a program called MySpeed that will allow you to watch videos on YouTube or any kind of online video at higher rates. So you can watch it at 1.2, 1.5, or even double time. So you can get through videos quite quickly. And once you've done it for a while, it's very easy to understand what people are saying at twice the speed. You can get that content in quicker. There's also sites out there which are basically online universities where large organizations will put up training material. A lot of it's free. Some of them are paid courses where you can go through and watch training videos and get PDFs and mind maps on pretty much any kind of topic you can think about. And even if you're doing your own in-house training, e-learning in many cases, software packages, or just again a WereQuickie where you can have those videos and how-to documents up there, so someone coming in for a new job can quickly get themselves up to speed. And as much as possible, it's not using your time as a business owner because you've done the work up front, putting that information in, so you can be doing what you normally do, and they can take themselves through self-paced through what they need to know. And if you're using any kind of office software, so again, whether it's Photoshop, Microsoft Word, any of those big applications, rather than sending someone off to an off-site training day, which can be quite expensive, there is no shortage of online training courses as well, where you can get access to a membership, and inside that membership will be training videos and how-to documentation. And once you've got access to that, then multiple staff can use that for their training. So it's, again, another asset that you can plug on to your employee induction process. So definitely look online for all your training for any big software applications that you use. Evernote is basically a service which helps you remember things. You can store all kind of documents on it. The advantage is it runs on everything, as you can see in the image there, and they will all sync. So as long as you can get to the internet, you've got your data, and it has an amazing search function. So you can snap a photo, upload it to Evernote, and if there's text in that photo, so a whiteboard or a sign or a photo of an invoice, it will actually carry out character recognition on that image, and you can search images. So if you type in a word and it appears in one of the photos you've taken, Evernote will display that note in that photo. So again, a very, very quick way of capturing information and then being able to get it back out of the storage again whenever you need it. If you're looking for a paper solution for either at home or your office, then Evernote is probably going to be the closest service that's going to do that for you. People love Jink when I show it to them. Jink is a screen capture tool, which sits very discreetly. Again, it's free. It sits up on the top of your screen. And when you click on it, you'll get some crosshairs that you can drag on your screen and select text or images. And it'll either let you capture that image and you upload it, and it'll come back with a link that you can send someone in an email, and they'll be able to click on that link and see the snapshot that you took of your screen. The other great thing is you can actually take video snapshots. So if you've got a website and you try and talk to your web designer about how you want to make a small change, rather than have to sit there and type it all out and try and describe what change you want, you can take the crosshairs, draw the rectangle or square on your website, and then hit record and simply talk and move your mouse around as you're talking. And at the end of it, you can upload that small video, send it to someone through a link in an email, and they'll be able to open the email, open the link, look at the video, and actually hear you talking, see your screen, see your mouse moving around as you're describing what you need done. So this is something that I find a lot of people love once they start using it. Smartphone is pretty much essential. If you're going to be using all these tools and want to run a modern business, then again, the fact that you can carry that information, be able to work on the go from wherever you are and get those updates is going to allow you to get things done quicker. You won't have to wait till you get into the office to get things done. You have that information fed out to your phone. And this is the whole idea, is to be able to free yourself up from being in one location to do business. Probably everyone's got too much email. Same box as one service you can check out. And what it does is it filters the email coming in into different categories, and you can train it over time. And it allows you to open one email as a summary. And if there's no emails in that summary that you need to read, you can trash them all at once. If there's ones that you do want to read, you can promote them back to your inbox. But instead of sitting there and dealing with things that comes into your inbox all the time, you can set it so at lunchtime you get a summary of important emails and not so important emails that come through. So that's a great service to check out. There's some online form services out there that can be lifesavers again. If you're finding it yourself or your staff spend a lot of time transcribing data from people who fill out paper forms in your business, then there's the opportunity to be able to put that on a kiosk or online and have them enter the information direct themselves. So one's there to look at. It's very easy to create forms from Google Docs, and also another website, a company called WereQuickies. And with either of these services, you can send someone a link in an email, and when they open that, there'll be a form they can fill out and submit, and that information will then go into a spreadsheet with everyone else's replies. So that's a great time saver. There's lots of remote access tools out there, and I guess there's two ways to use it. One is for training, so you can log into the work computer from home and show someone how to do something if they're learning. And the other thing is, if you've got dedicated software which only works on your work computer, you can use remote access tools and software so that, again, you can log in from your iPad or log in from your home computer and run that dedicated software inside the office from a remote connection. The other time it's quite often used is just purely for tech support help. Rather than have to pay for someone to come out to your office to fix something on your computer or software-wise, you can quite often get them to remote access your computer and have them do the maintenance or do the upgrades remotely. So you're going to save on their time having to travel out and save on that service fee. All right, so there's a really quick run through of some of the tools and services you can look at, and hopefully it's giving you some ideas of how you can make things a bit quicker and easier in your business. But I guess the big takeaway is the fact that we're moving to a world where you don't have to be in the office to get your work done. You can be out and about and do a lot of the admin as you go, rather than saving it up for the end of the day and having to do it as a hit when you get back to the office. All right, so let's re-hit some of the action steps that you can walk away with from the first part of the webinar and this second section. If you haven't looked already, the Google local page is your free map listing that Google provides. Super important for the reasons we went through in that first section of the webinar. But this is quite often when people are looking for a local service, this is the page that's going to come up. And so you want to have good reviews on there, and you want to have it filled out as completely as possible so you've got that best chance of ranking that page. Facebook page, again, there's just so many people on Facebook now that it's kind of an expectation for a real business, in air quotes there, to have a Facebook page. And it's a way that people can do, one, a background check on what you're doing and see what's happened in the past and what other people are saying about you. But it's also just a great communication channel. The fact that people can contact you through the page, you can answer questions, and have that visibility and that community around your business and around your brand. LinkedIn profile and page, again, it's just another way of having that extra visibility and background check. When people Google your name, if you've got that LinkedIn profile up there, it's going to rank really highly, and it allows you to control what people are seeing about you. And at the same time, you can have a dedicated page for your company on LinkedIn. And it's another place where you can put up the information you want people to find about your business and control that sort of online branding, online reputation. Google Alerts ties in with the online reputation management as well. Free service from Google where you can plug in those keywords that you want to monitor. And it may simply be your business name or your name. And whenever Google finds a new page talking about your business, you'll get an email and you can go and check out the page that Google has found. Even with all these different social media websites out there, you still do really need that website. So the website is your home base online for your business. And it's important because it's online real estate that you wholly control. So you can change what's up there. You can add things, you can link to it, but it's not going to disappear overnight. And it's not under someone else's terms and conditions. So Facebook is the example. There's certain things you can't do on Facebook such as run competitions on the Facebook wall. Whereas obviously on your own website, you can pretty much do whatever you want, those sorts of things. And if some other website becomes the next Facebook in 2 years' time, well, you're still going to have your website there and your content on your website, even if people move from Facebook. Email address. You don't want to have a Hotmail or a Big Pond email address or any internet service provider address for your business. You want to have a dedicated domain. So if your business is Best Pets, then you'd want to have info or sales at bestpets.com and not have it as bestpets@bigpond.com. 2 reasons. One is just purely perception, but the other reason is you're then stuck with that internet service provider. So if you're with Telstra on Big Pond and later on you want to move to Optus or another provider, it's going to be a nightmare because you're going to have to change all your signage or your printing or your website to point to the new email address. So best of all, if you don't have a dedicated company email address, go get a dedicated domain and set that up. Online reviews, super important. You really need to be out there asking happy customers to leave reviews for you. Again, lots of places they can do that. Probably suggest the best place is your Google local map listing. Otherwise, you can look at places like True Local, Start Local, and Word of Mouth. Look, if you want to get the handout, we've talked about so many different tools in these 2 sessions. It's going to be hard for you to flick back through, but there is a dedicated handout which will be attached to the opt-in and the emails you get here at redcliffmarketinglabs.com.au. The links in that will take you through to a lot of the tools we've talked about. That's the quickest and easiest way you can access that information. Look, if you have any questions on all the stuff we've gone through, please don't hesitate to get in contact. Ask me the questions. I'd love to know, one, any feedback you've got, but also if you've got a question, I'll either answer it or tell you someone who can. So look, folks, this has very much been a crash course in using internet to leverage your business. I'm Mick Cullen from Redcliffe Marketing Labs and wish you all the best in applying some of these in your business and getting some great results. Cheers.